Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. We made it to the end of our book. So today we are going to just put some finishing touches on our book. So adding a couple tags and doing a little bit of decorating. And so what I did is I took the black cardstock scraps that we had and I just kind of evened them out a little bit. I cut them down by about 3 inches. If you want a more traditional tag, I think 2.5 is width is good. And then I had a couple other scraps of black cardstock, so I just threw them in as well in case I want to use those. And then I have some white cardstock for the mats. We're going to pull some of the 6x6 paper pad to decorate our tags, and then I'm also going to use this to decorate the front of the book today. On our example, I have this ephemera, and I use the ephemera pack throughout the book, but if you don't have matching ephemera, a lot of times you'll have some sort of cut apart in your 6x6 that you can use. So I'm going to be using this one, and I'm just going to cut it down and do a little bit of decorating. For my tags, I want at least 3 tags. And I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3. So the tags are extra. You don't have to have tags, but we did put some pockets in, or a pocket in. So I want to put something in there. And these will also serve as photo mats. So let's cut down. I'm going to set this aside. So use whatever size scraps you have that you feel are appropriate for tags. Should have one that's about this size, and that's what I took these from. And these happen to be 4 by 5 1/4, but you can use any size that you want. If you don't have a corner rounder or some other sort of like a tag template, then what you can do is you can make a cut on one side of your tag. I'm just going to eyeball this. And then you just take this little piece, you flip it over, set it right here. And of course, this isn't going to be perfect or necessarily perfectly the same, but it gives you a pretty good template. It's easier than eyeballing it and then eventually cutting down so far, trying to get them even, that you just don't have a tag anymore. So that's one way to do that. And I am going to be using on these other two my angle punch. I'm going to use the large angle. This is the We Are Memory Keepers chomper. So you see that gives you a really good angle to start with for your tag. And I'll do this other one the same way. And then I'm just gonna hold them all together, kind of line them up, and eyeball the center with my hole punch. If you've never seen a We Are Memory Keepers hole punch before, they are pretty fantastic. Especially if you have dexterity issues. I know especially some of the cheaper made hole punches take a lot of energy and pressure to actually use to create the holes. But this one, you can do a number of sheets. It also has this where you can decide how far in you want it. And it takes almost no pressure. Now, if you have kind of dexterity issues with your hand, you know, stretching this way, then maybe it's not the best, but it still is pretty good. Look at this, takes like no pressure. So, and that was 3 sheets. All right, so what I should have done is I should have cut my mats and adhered them before I did that, but that's okay, we'll figure that out. So now I have 3 tags, and I'm going to find 3 sheets of my 6x6, and if you followed along and covered yours the same way I covered mine, then you should have enough sheets to cover your tags. Oh, here's another one I can use to decorate. So I'm going to set that aside. Oop. And I think I like these candles. This one with the hats is pretty fun. And some confetti. Oh, also the lines. I like the lines. Let's see, I'm gonna set this aside. So now we're just gonna figure out how much, how big we want to cut these. So I'm going to say if these are 5 1/4, oh wait, is that right? These are about 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut these 3 3/4 by 5. So 3 3/4 this way. And 5 this way. Make sure that kind of lines up here. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to do the other 2 the same. If your paper has an orientation to it, making the cuts is where you want to kind of pay attention. And so now that that's done, we're also going to need 3 mats. So let me show you in our completed book. In the completed book, we have these mats that are decorated on the front. They have the decorative cardstock, and then they have a white sheet on the back. And tags, I think, are really good for journaling, but they can also be used as photo spots. The thing to do, I think, would be to use a lined sheet of paper if you had it. I don't have any cardstock that just has regular black lines across it, like a piece of like notebook paper. But maybe somebody makes that, and we could find those and put that on the back, because that would be kind of a telltale sign that that's for journaling. So I'm going to close this up, set that aside, and so these need to be the same size as our designer paper sheets. So that is 5 by 3 3/4. And so I'm going to cut it down to 5 this way. I have 2 of these here. And 3 3/4 this way. And then one more. Of course, if you just want to put your tags in and either use decorative paper and not put the mats on the back, or just put mats on them. You could put mats on both sides, however you want to do it. Let's see, let's do 5. Three and 3/4. Okay. So for 2 of these, I'm going to go ahead and use the angle punch, just like I did on the tag itself. So let's figure that out. So there are 2 sides to this. There's a small angle and a large angle. I used the large angle. Again, if you have an orientation, you want to make sure that you are rounding the 2 corners at the top. You don't need an angle punch for this. You can definitely use a corner rounder. I just used the more traditional tag shape idea for this one. So there. Same thing with this. And I could have probably just went ahead and done these ones at the same time. Now I have 2 pieces in here on the large angle, and I'm just going to angle them, cut them at the same time. So once these mats get onto our tags, it's going to cover up that original hole, so I'm not going to worry about matching them. I'm just going to glue these down, and we will punch the whole thing at the end before we put the ribbon in. And I'm going to do this one now. So we have this sheet, right, that has a little bit of a mat around it. I'm just going to go ahead and take my mat and line it up at the bottom, and then just push it up to the top here as if it were going to be glued right along there. And I'm going to use this same angle as my template. Let's see if that worked. Yep, looks pretty good. If you hear the bells, it's not Santa Claus, it is busy. He chases after cheese, so we put a bell on his, what I always call his necklace, his collar, so that she knows when he's coming. There we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue these down, and then we'll get to putting some ribbon in them. If you want to have tags and you don't have ribbon or twine, you could definitely just punch the holes and put them in. You can also use a strip of paper that is folded over as like a pull, but alternatively, you don't even have to do that. You can just leave them without. So that second cut put this angle kind of wonky, but I'm not going to worry about it. Busy's trying to get up in the windowsill. So I'm just going to leave it, and I used the template for these other cuts, and they look decent. So I'm just going to leave it that way. All right. Okay. We have our 3 tags. I'm going to go ahead and punch them again. Just eyeballing it. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of ribbon today. In my example, I used twine. I used red and black baker's twine to kind of match the colors here, but I am just going to use some white ribbon today, and I'm just going to use 1 piece per tag. They don't need to be very long. If you're worried about your ribbon, if you use ribbon fraying, then you could put just a tiny bit of glue on the ends, or you can use something like fray check or the singe method, or you can use your We Are Memory Keepers ribbon thing. What is that thing called? I have one. I rarely use it. But it just heats the ribbon with a wire and kind of melts it all together. If you want to see that, I have one. I can pull it out and put a new battery in it, and we could use that. But it's by We Are Memory Keepers, and I can link it down below if it's still on the market. So I decided that I wanted to push these through the other way. So I want to put the ribbon through the back. Bring it up through the hoop. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. All right. I'm just going to tuck these in here in our little pocket. And now we are ready to just make our final decorations. Here's where you would consider if you want to use stamps or anything else in your stash, punches, stickers, even if they don't match the line that you're using. Now's the time to kind of bring them in and decorate some of the pieces. You could do every single piece. I am just going to add a few of these little cut aparts into my book here. So I'm going to cut this down, and I'm going to keep this in mind. So I'm bringing out the rest of my scraps from the paper pad. I've just been keeping them in this little bag. You can use a more formal organizer if you want. I had all of the parts and my original and everything in this one bag earlier, so I'm gonna look for a strip that I can put down the side, something like this maybe, and then I'll put a cut apart kind of on top of it and layer it a little bit. But I'm gonna flip through here and see what I've got. This one says celebrate. That's pretty cute. Okay. I'm gonna cut this down. I'm gonna use this as a mat. Cut it down to about 1 1/4 inches and see how I like that. And then on top of that, I'm going to cut this down to about 1 inch. Just put that right on top. Just gives it a little bit of dimension, a little bit of interest. And then I'm going to cut out this big sentiment, or this big cut apart here, and use it. Actually, let's see. I'm gonna glue it down. Just gonna eyeball where I want it. This is definitely different than how I did our example. This one I just used a large ephemera piece. And if you like it, you don't even have to put anything else on top. Generally, when we build these kind of books, we choose our favorite sheet for the cover for a reason. I do have a tendency to choose something busy, and so what I like to consider when I'm designing my book or doing the considering where the pages are going to be, considering where I'm going to put the decorative cardstock sheets, you know, I kind of do think about if I want to embellish it a lot, because then I'll try to use something a little less busy so that I can put stickers and layer up a lot of things on it. This guy has a white going down the side. Let's see. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna glue this right there, and kind of like it. Oh, I want to put some extra glue along the sides because I really want the ends to stay flat. You can do this any way you want. You can layer up a piece of a piece of paper underneath, or a couple pieces of paper if you want to make sure that it's the same size. But for me, I think I am just going to do one of these and call it good. Okay, we did it. We made a book. So, just do a little bit of a flip through here. I like the way our cover turned out. I like the just kind of layering up here. It is kind of busy, but I think this line of blue separates the cupcakes from the balloons a little bit. So, then we have our slide pockets. Slide folders and slide pockets with our photo mats. Same on this side. Our mats here. And our vertical folder with the pocket that we made. We've got 3 tags with blank mats on the back. And our waterfall. Potentially with our fancy little pieces here that are really just scraps. So, if you happened to finish this album as well, let me know. That would be super exciting for me to find out. Also, if you used the ruler and scissor method, let me know that as well, because it doesn't change the way your album looks at the end, but it does take a little bit longer without like a paper trimmer and some of the tools that I use to kind of make it a little bit faster. I'm going to go ahead and repost this entire playlist and rename all of the parts so that now that I know how many are in the series, someone starting from the beginning can see which part it is and how many there are in total. Thank you for joining me for this Let's Make a Book series. I appreciate your time and support, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget safety first.